You can sense the intensity as they await the arrival of the Tennessee team here at Cleveland Stadium. The number one undefeated Volunteers prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Give me a good old swig of this Pilot Flying J coffee, and I'll be right back. What's up, YouTubes? What's up, everybody out there? I'm going to do another Friday Night Live, kind of like Saturday Night Live, just not quite the comedic value of Saturday Night Live. And I tell you what, I used to watch Saturday Night Live back when Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Spade, that was a great era, but Saturday Night Live ain't nothing what it used to be, and it doesn't hold a candle to Roadshow Sports, a.k.a. Volunteer Roadshow, a.k.a. your show, Friday Night Live. And I got my buddy Couch Coach, he's on with us, and we're just going to try to talk some football as much as we can, because there's not a lot of football left, but we got a great group of games in the NFL. We've got the Chump of the Year awards that I'm going to start doing every year, and for college football. And I want to hear what your nominations are. I've thought about my nominations. I've got Urban Meyer. Who else can we put on there? Couch Coach could be the Chump of the Year, kind of disappointing. Will Muschamp really disappointed. I'm sure you probably got Justin Fields on that list, and probably a group of other Georgia players, but I don't know. Do you got anybody else we can add to the nominations of the Chump of the Year award? Hey, Will Greer. I'm still not over Will Greer being a quarterback, skipping the bowl game, but what about you?
Well, I think you got to put Gus Malzahn in that list there too.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a good bowl game, but boy, they kind of fell off this year. Yeah, I'm sure there's some others that our callers can, chime in on as well.
And I'm sure we got some bite me's. This is one of the last episodes for college football for a while. I don't know. We'll always talk football, I'm sure, as much as we can. But call in and give me your bite me's to the Allied Oil and Tire hotline at 855-489-7623. I don't know if Crying Ryan's in here, Gator fan, but my Vols are on fire, 13-1, and the only loss was to overtime to Kansas, and we play Florida tomorrow evening about 6 o'clock down in Gainesville. Kentucky plays Vanderbilt. If y'all want to talk some college basketball, because conference play is underway. We got some odds for next year's national champion. Couch Coach, you were telling me about. You have to put Clemson right up there. What are the odds? You've got them there in front of you. Kind of run down for the viewers there what the odds are from Vegas for the national champion.
Yeah, well, via the odds shark here, I have Clemson, 7-4 odds to repeat. Alabama 5-2. Georgia 11-2 odds for the championship. Ohio State 12-1. Penn State 12-1. Michigan 14-1. Auburn 25-1 odds. Miami 25-1 odds, which is crazy. And Texas and Wisconsin at about 25-1. So there's a lot of interest in that Big 12 there, seeing if any of those schools can kind of pull out there, maybe pull out a championship. I mean, I think there's a lot of, hype around Texas, obviously. I think they're trying to see that they're going to be the next team that's kind of up and coming. And, Georgia at 3, I think that, this is going to be an interesting year for them. I mean, obviously this was, I guess you could say it was kind of a rebuild year for Georgia, but with some of the stuff in the off season, it'll be really interesting to see what they do moving forward. And of course, if they can get past Alabama, which is the multi-million-dollar question for them. But always interesting looking at future odds and just kind of get a grasp of where your team might kind of fall in the pecking order of that.
I can't believe that Miami and Auburn are even registering on the Richter scale, and if they are, I'm surprised it's not 200-1 for those two. Of course, Auburn, have you ever seen a team in your lifetime that can catch lightning in the bottle as much as Auburn?
No, and they've, that seems to be a pretty fairly recent development, especially under Gus Malzahn and with Gene Chizik. I mean, I think, for the 10 to 15 years prior to that, it always felt like they had some pretty consistent teams with Tuberville and even with Terry Bowden there. And we don't have a ton of Auburn fans on the show, but it's definitely an interesting program with Auburn. I mean, being in the West, they do draw a little bit of a interesting schedule next year. I mean, they get Alabama at home, they get Georgia at home, and both of those teams have struggled with Auburn at home. And so be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see how Alabama rebounds from this loss. And you and I were talking in the show prep about how it's one thing to lose a game, it's another to get your teeth punched out. And, Georgia and some of these other programs have gotten, whipped. And, Ohio State has gotten whipped and be able to bounce back from it. But, Alabama, this is kind of uncharted territory under Nick Saban. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that in the next 9 months. You'd like to think that they will bounce back, but I don't know. He's got to perform some psychological work a little bit with that crew.
Well, before I give out my shout-outs to everybody in the live chat, we don't want to go into depth right now. We got some callers on hold, but kind of give us a rundown on the NFL playoffs, the lines on those 4 games.
Sure. So, looking into the games this weekend, the Rams are favored at home against Dallas by 7 points. The Patriots are favored by 4 against the LA Chargers. The Saints are favored by 8 against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Kansas City is favored by 5.5 against a surging Colts team. So some interesting games. The divisional round of the NFL playoffs is one of the highly betted, weekends of the year. You tend to see a lot of upsets. You tend to see the real contenders, the real Super Bowl challengers coming to the fore. So it's just a really interesting weekend.
Well, I'm going to give some shout-outs, and something came to my attention. And I don't know what kind of interest, if it's going to be a failed venture like Vince McMahon had with the XFL, but this Alliance League, there seems to be a lot of hype gearing up around it. I don't know if it has to do with the NFL, all that's going on with the NFL. Their ratings are down. I don't know, but maybe y'all want to chime in what y'all think about the Alliance League. Heck, I don't even know how many teams there are, but there's supposed to be, I don't know, several of them during the spring. I don't know much about it. But anyway, if you like this show, hit that thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the thumbs down. And if you're new here and you just want to hear a truck driver talk a little bit of nothing about sports with my co-host Couch Coach and give you a platform to tell me how you feel. Any bite me's out there, please call in. I want to hear some bite me's. But anyway, let me do my shout outs and then we're going to go to the phones. We got Vodka Drinker in here. Aaron Ross, I think he's on hold. My boy Tiger Nation's in here, and Bobby Durkins Jr.'s in here. Well, I just clicked off something. I don't know what I did. I may not be able to get everybody because I got a lot of things running in the background with this program. College basketball talks in here. Clemson Carson. Let's see. Let's see. Mad Mike Sports. Everybody go check out Mad Mike Sports. He does a lot of Atlanta Falcons live streams. Great guy. Go check him out. Hit that red little icon. It says go to channel. You won't be kicked off the show, and sub him up. The Vol General, I think he's on hold. KBT guitar covers. He's got some pretty good videos. And my boy Gate City Blue Devils always in here. Killer Mime, he's in here a lot. I tell you what, Killer Mime, you've been showing up regular. I'm going to give you an early Christmas present. I'm going to make you a moderator. You seem to be a pretty loyal viewer. There you go, buddy. You're now a moderator of Roadshow Sports, and I don't know if I went back far enough. Oh, MCD Sports 4. He said something about the Miami being 25-1. He might have to call in. But anyway, I appreciate it. This show belongs to you. It's not my show. Oh, you can always count on Shane Bentley helping out Volunteer Roadshow. He's got a super chat. He says, glad to see UGA upgrade Coley to OC. Recruiting skills. What do you think about Coley there, Couch Coach?
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on the hire. I mean, I kind of felt like Kirby was going to go in-house there, maybe make a play for Dan Enos, who was at Arkansas and then later Alabama. I think he's gone to Miami. Coley, I mean, I think there's kind of mixed reviews on him. I mean, he was under Jimbo Fisher there at FSU. Jimbo tried to lure him away back to Texas A&M. Really kind of mixed reviews on his time in Miami. There's some people who are really down on him with his work with Brad Kaya. But, the thing about the Georgia offense is it's not like it's the kind of offense that has to be totally upgraded. I mean, I think, it did put up a lot of, points and yardage under Chaney the last couple of years. I think the biggest question mark is, can that passing game elevate? And so we'll see. I mean, it feels like, Kirby's going to make a conservative choice there, and we'll see if it pays off. But the next couple of years, that offense really has to have some more big play, explosive plays in the passing game to compete with the more upper echelon teams they're going to face.
Yeah, I see Tiger Nation in here. I just made you a moderator, and my boy SEC Dog, one of the biggest Georgia fans. But let's go to the phone lines. Let's see. Who's been on the longest? I can't see. My vision's going. That's what happens when you get old, Couch Coach. You can't quite see what you used to be able to see. Let's see. Looks like we got Vol General. Vol General, what you got for Catfish and Couch Coach? You got to bite me or a Chump of the Year nominee?
Yeah, Chump of the Year goes to Butch Jones. Congratulations to Butch on getting a new job at Maryland. He's the tight ends coach up there now. I'm pretty sure they've made it official. And by the way, I wanted to make a point about this real quick. Alabama, their entire offensive staff is pretty much gone. Dan Enos, he's gone to Miami. Mike Loxley, now at Maryland. Butch Jones, the offensive analyst, follows Loxley to Maryland. And their entire offensive staff is pretty much gone there. So that's going to be very interesting to see how Nick Saban handles that over there down there in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. It's interesting because, a lot of people talk about turnover in staff and they see that as, kind of a bad thing. And I think Nick, the last 2 years, has proven that, you can be okay and you can get people in there. But I think Alabama's situation with just the talent differential they have, it's proven to be okay. Now in Georgia's situation, we'll see. We're playing, replacing some coordinators ourselves. I mean, Tennessee's kind of in the same boat. So, I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, I think you want to give coordinators a couple of years to show what they can do. But I don't really have a problem if you have like a guy like, say, a Jim Chaney who's there for 3 years, then he goes and gets a pay upgrade at a Tennessee. I think that's okay. I mean, but I think if you're changing coordinators out every year, then that's some cause for concern.
Well, I think if you have trouble counting and you can't count very high, you might not be able to count all the coaching and coordinator changes on offense and defense with Alabama. It just seems like every other year they've got a new coordinator. They've got some guy going to be an advisor and turns into a coordinator. I mean, the list is a mile long with Saban, and they seem to always have the same results. He's like a CEO, and he's a great coach. He knows how to. He's kind of like Bill Belichick. I mean, Bill Belichick has had a ton of offensive and defensive coordinators over their great run. It just seems like both of those guys have always been equated. They'll always be equated to one another, and they have a lot of the same results in the way they do things. It's a process at Alabama. So I don't think that offensive coordinator change is going to mean that much because it hadn't meant anything in the past. That's just me.
Yeah. But the reason I bring that up is I was talking to an Alabama fan today, and you're never going to guess who a candidate is to replace, actually two, to replace Mike Locksley at Alabama. One is Butch Jones. That's right, he said Butch Jones is a candidate to replace him. The other one's Lane Kiffin. Now, Kiffin obviously not as bad as Butch. Kiffin's a really good offensive coordinator. He was Alabama before. But what do you think about that? Two former Tennessee head coaches in the mix to be Alabama's next offensive coordinator. Do you think we could see that happen?
I don't think Kiffin's going to go back down that road. I think Kiffin has kind of been burnt out with Nick. I'm really surprised that Kiffin didn't really try to push very hard for that Miami job. And I don't even know if he was ever strongly considered. I think they really made the push to get Manny Diaz back. And Butch, I mean, I'm not really sure. You know, the thing about Butch I could never gauge is I couldn't really decipher if it was kind of Brian Kelly's scheme at Cincinnati that worked and he just kind of parlayed it, or if he's actually has some good offensive kind of tendencies himself and can make it work. I don't know. I mean, you guys can maybe answer that for me.
Well, I tell you what, if Butch Jones goes to Alabama, also offensive coordinator, that'll be like my Christmas in January, whenever they would announce it. I tell you what, that would be the greatest gift to Tennessee I could think of. And I'm sure Uncle Lou would have a lot to laugh about and bash Alabama. There ain't no way Butch Jones is going to Alabama, because I don't think he impressed Saban that much. I don't know. I just got the feeling when you've seen all these videos by players that had Butch Jones in it, he really looked like he was the single guy at the Christmas party that nobody really talked to over in the corner until he came to Neyland Stadium, and then all of a sudden he was in every picture and every tweet and every selfie by them players smoking that stogie. But I just don't think there's any chance Lane Kiffin or Butch Jones is going to be offensive coordinator at Alabama. I just don't see it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But if they do end up hiring Butch, that's going to be hilarious. And by the way, we got Florida tomorrow. Catfish, that line opened at 2. It's up to 3 now in favor of the Vols in Gainesville.
That's it?
In all honesty, that's it. And I expect Tennessee to win
sell
this game
your
by
house,
at least.
mortgage your house, mortgage your wife's wedding ring, go take it to the pawn shop, call your nearest bookie, and lay it all on Tennessee. There ain't no way Tennessee doesn't beat them by about 15.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You need to take Tennessee by around that range, 10, 7, 8, around there. And that's just because of the way Florida's defense is. They're not good at defending inside the paint, and that's what Tennessee tries to do. They feed the ball to Grant Williams in the paint, and he'll kill you all game long.
Yeah.
There. And they're just not good at defending in the paint. I don't see any way Tennessee loses this game now. It's going to be tough to play in Gainesville. It always is. There's fans down there. As much as I hate them, they're very enthusiastic about it, and I think it's one of the toughest places to play in the country. But I definitely see Tennessee winning this game by around that range, 8, 9, 10, around there, just because of the style of defense they're playing. They're not very good at defending inside the paint. But if Florida jumps up early and that crowd gets involved, I think there is a chance we could, lose. I don't think it's going to happen, just like I said, because I think Grant Williams is going to have a great day. But, yeah, it's always tough to play down there.
We got a super chat. Looks like, who is that gave me a super chat? Everything's happened so fast. I wanted to thank him. Oh, Tiger Nation. He's talking about 15-0. Yeah, congratulations, Tiger Nation. And great win. I didn't see it coming. I said it on my show last night with Law Tide and Pigskin Pete. I really think that Trevor Lawrence has to be odds-on preseason favorite to win the Heisman. He just could do no wrong. And what about that Ross kid that came from Alabama? And that's something about what you're bringing up, Vol General, is a lot of people have said that Ross kid ended up in Clemson because of the coaching staff stability. And I believe the year he was being recruited as a senior, Alabama had an offensive coordinator changeover. And a lot of people attribute that to Clemson getting that Ross kid. I think he's like 6'6" as a wide receiver, and he had some fantastic catches. He's going to be a great receiver in his college career. If he doesn't leave early, he'll have 3 more years of great years. But that's another point that I heard on the radio today. And do you think that couch coach, do you think that turnover at Alabama, do you think, how much of an effect do you think that has on kids? That kid came from Alabama. He shouldn't have gone out of state.
Well, and I think you got to also, just beyond that, you have to look at kind of the culture of the programs too. I mean, when you go to Alabama, it's business. You know, it's kind of like being at the 49ers or the Cowboys back in the day where, you know, like it was like business. It's not fun. You're not going to have a good time, but you're going to win titles, and you know, you're going to have the best conditioning programs and all this kind of stuff. And what Dabo sells, and, you know, we kind of talked about this with Bobby Durkins as well, is that, you know, he sells kind of a family atmosphere. It's fun. You know, we're going to work hard. We're going to be committed, but we're going to enjoy ourselves. And I think, you know, there's a lot to be said about that for Clemson and the way they've kind of handled it. And I think there's just multiple ways to win, and you know which way is the right way. Well, the one that wins, right? So at any given moment, you know, when Saban wins, it's like, well, he's determined and he's driven. When he loses, he's a jerk, right?
Yeah.
When Dabo wins, it's like, oh, he's fun and he's great, and when he loses, oh, he's a goofball. So, you know, but for the moment, the Clemson way is the hot commodity, and I think that had a lot to do with him, you know, just beyond the coordinator piece. Just that family atmosphere, just Dabo and that whole kind of package there.
Yeah, Saban does not have a personality. He does. It's called Type A. Type A personality. Everything's all business. Yeah. Everything's a process, and you know, no personality. I see MCD Sports talking about one of the reasons he didn't make it in the NFL is he didn't have a personality. I also seen Alan V. Herbert Bradford, I saw him a minute ago. I can't scroll back and see who else. Well, I'll just go ahead and do that now. I saw somebody else I hadn't seen in a while. Oh, T.N. Volo Niner. Got this in the mail. Man, this thing weighs about 5 pounds. Man, you could kill somebody with this thing. It could be a weapon. But this thing's nice. It's going into the Volunteer Roadshow studios somewhere. I haven't figured it out. But it's really, really nice. I'm proud to have that as a gift. But what else you got, Vol General?
There's one more thing. When you look at the SEC and basketball, it's number one is Tennessee, obviously, and there's this huge drop-off. There's nobody close to Tennessee in basketball right now. Auburn, most people would say Auburn or Kentucky. Kentucky, they lost at Alabama, and Auburn got humiliated at Ole Miss. I don't think there's any team close to Tennessee in the SEC right now. Do you think there is? Can you think of one?
No. And I just seen Crying Ryan. I was hoping he was going to check in tonight's show. Ryan, your boys are going down. I can't believe you're only favored by 2 points. That's just the craziest thing. We're going to beat you by 10, 15 points. I don't care if it's in Gainesville or not. Your boys are going down. My Vols are the talk of the town, the talk of college basketball. I see college basketball talk in here. Duke fan. We're going to meet Duke in the national championship, man. We're going to knock the legs out from that team. At Zion, I know he's a great player, and Krzyzewski's one of the best ever. But, Ryan, just go ahead and get prepared for this butt whooping that you're going to take tomorrow. I told Couch Coach the last time we were on before the Georgia game, I said, I hope this beat down that you're going to get, it's going to affect our friendship, and I hope the beat down that you're going to get tomorrow doesn't keep you from continuing to follow me, because, you know, I love all of y'all here, but what's basketball? I see Ryan, he's pulling a Couch Coach. What's basketball? You'll know what basketball is tomorrow, because it's going to hit you between the eyes. I promise you that. But you're right, Vol General. There's nobody. Alabama beat Kentucky. They were throwing a party in the locker room. That was really the only team that I thought could contend with us. Auburn lost to somebody. I forget who it was now. It was I think it's a Mississippi school. I think LSU is going to shake up the SEC a little bit. I think they're going to they're a good team. I don't think they're ranked, but they'll probably make some noise in the SEC tournament. I don't know, but I can't wait. It's already January, a couple months away to the tournament time, and we'll probably be a number 1 seed for sure. But anyway, what else you got, Vol General? I've got another couple of calls on. Let me ask you a question before we go. Me and Couch Coach was talking about this. What are the requirements for a choke? We were discussing, was this Alabama-Clemson game, was it a choke job? I always thought a choke job was when you had the game won and the final minutes, there's no way on hell you were going to lose it, and somehow you lost it. Kind of like the Arizona Cardinals did with the Bears under Dennis Green several years ago. But do you consider that Alabama-Clemson a choke?
Look, no, I don't. Clemson came into that game and controlled the game 100% of the way. There was never doubt after that first quarter that Clemson was going to be the winner of that game. Now, when you get into choke jobs, that's Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl, Georgia, Georgia. That's when you get into choke jobs. Florida in the 2016 game. That's when you get into the choke jobs, when you're blowing huge leads in the second half, like Georgia and Florida do.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was a choke either. Guess what, Couch Coach? Guess who's in the live chat?
I have no clue.
Delusional Paul. He needs to call in. We hadn't talked to Delusional Paul in a while. I want to talk to him about his Buckeyes. But anyway, Vol General, I'm going to grab Aaron Ross and chat with him a minute. I appreciate you calling, buddy. All right, Aaron Ross. Let me hit the talk button here. I couldn't hear what you were saying you wanted to talk about, but what you got for Catfish and Couch Coach? Glad you called, buddy.
Yeah, good to be here. And first thing I want to say is Chump of the Year has got to go to those Miami Hurricanes, man. They started ranked number 8 in the polls. People saying that they had an outside shot at the playoffs, and finished the season 7-6 with terrible losses, and then ended up losing Mark Richt at the end of the season. So I think they are without a doubt the biggest losers of the college football season. And as far as the Alabama-Clemson game goes, not so much on this channel, but I am hearing a lot of Clemson fans who are really trash-talking Alabama, saying how much better they are than Alabama. And granted, that night in that game, Clemson was loads better than Alabama. But I think you play that game 10 times, Clemson ain't winning 44-16 or whatever it was 10 times in a row. You know, they ain't that much better than Alabama. Like I said, they were that night, but they're not every time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, Catfish and I were talking about that as well. And, it's interesting because, this, again, I reflect back on my team here, but, like when Georgia got whipped by Auburn 40-17, I said the next morning after I had to eat a crow video there, I was like, listen, if we played them this morning, it would not be 40-17, right? And again, I'm kind of like you. When you have two evenly matched teams like that, most of the time it's going to be a close game, and I think both sides felt that way. And I think there's a chance that Alabama would blow Clemson out, and there's a chance that Clemson would blow Alabama out. And the rest of the time, the 8 times or whatever, you're looking at a pretty close game. But yeah, I mean, first round knockouts happen, and that's just kind of what happened in that game, I think.
Yeah, I've said that sometimes it's just your night and sometimes it's just not your night. I don't think they're that much better than Alabama, but they got out-coached and outplayed, and that night they were 44-16 better. I think they're evenly matched teams. I think they both got fantastic coaches. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum on their style. Like I said a minute ago, Saban's more type A. Dabo's more of a player's coach. You know, you hear that term thrown around a lot, but I really think he is. And kudos to Terry Don Phillips for taking a chance on a wide receivers coach. And he should get a lot of credit for the run that Clemson's on. Sometimes you just get lucky and you really don't know what you have. But Dabo's a great coach. He's a great character guy, and he runs a great program. I mean, I would be proud to be, if I was a Clemson fan, being proud of my program and how it's run all year long. The football team has run well. You could tell he's built relationships with these kids. You know, I'm sure he has relationships with these kids that even long after they leave Clemson. And kudos to Clemson. I tell you what, I give Bobby Durkins a lot of grief, and Pigskin Pete, and we're just having fun. But he's just a great guy. But anyway, what else you got for us, Aaron?
I was wanting to talk about these NFL games we got this weekend. You know, we got the Colts and the Chiefs, Cowboys, Rams, Chargers, Patriots, and Eagles, Saints. I'm kind of mad at the Eagles. They screwed me last week because I had the Bears winning that game and even beating the Saints in New Orleans, but that ain't happening now. But, you know, I think what I see happening tomorrow is I see the Chiefs beating the Colts mainly because that's a home game for them. And honestly, I got the Dallas Cowgirls going to Los Angeles and surprising the Rams.
Wow.
I think that's going to be a huge upset. I'm not necessarily saying that I want that to happen. I do not like the Cowboys at all, but I just got a feeling that they're going to pull that upset. And then I got the Chargers beating the Patriots and the Saints beating the Eagles, and I think the Super Bowl will be between the Chargers and the Saints.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick. I think the Rams are going to absolutely lambaste the Cowboys Saturday. I think that going into L.A., I think Dak, you know, he's up and down. If they get down 14 points, the Rams, with that defensive line they got, forget about it. And I think a lot of people, the way the Rams have been kind of poor mouth there towards the end, the way they kind of ended the season, I think the Rams are going to come out, you know, pretty good and give it to them. But I do agree with you on the Chargers. I think the Chargers are kind of an underneath team. I think that's a little team to watch, and to only be favored by 4 at home for New England Patriots, that's pretty interesting too, because usually in a divisional round they're favored anywhere from like 7 to 10 points most of the time. Yeah. So that will be an interesting game. Yeah.
And I think the Saints will just be too much for the Eagles, especially with my boy, Mr. Alvin Kamara, down there in New Orleans, and I think the Saints will be clear winners in that game from the start.
I agree. I see my old trucker buddy that goes way back, heavy hauler friend of mine back when I used to do some heavy hauling. We were working out of truck driving school. King of Cans, go sub him up. If you like watching somebody talk crap and drink beer and work on old cars, that's your YouTube channel. Freddie GTV's in here. Glad to see you. But I'm going to grab another call. We got Crying Ryan and Bobby Durkins on the line. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off here and grab those calls, and I appreciate it, Aaron.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
Well, let's go to Crying Ryan, and let me see what this. I haven't talked to him. We haven't talked to him in a while, Couch Coach. Let's see what kind of nonsense. I don't have any popcorn, Ryan, but I've got some coffee. I'm just going to sit back and let you talk, and then Couch Coach will respond, and then I'll wrap it up, and I might let you keep going, or I might drop you. I don't know. But you ain't winning tomorrow, period.
Okay. Well, to your thing earlier, you didn't, stop liking me when Florida embarrassed you in football. So, I'll still like you after tomorrow or whenever the game is, because, yeah, I don't have much faith either. If I'm being an honest fan and not a fanatic fan, I don't got much faith in this game. I think the line should be more, and I think this is a steal game if you're going to want to bet the line, because I think Tennessee could easily win by double-digit points. I have not been impressed by Florida basketball this year.
Well, but isn't that the time to take Florida? I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, if I'm not a basketball guy, I don't really care either way, but I kind of feel like at home, only favored by 2 or 3. Why not take the Gators there?
Because the reason is Tennessee is the best team in the country, and Florida can't even be in the same zip code. Who did I see just come in here? Oh, my boy, Pine Saw Lemon Scent. He's in here. He gets a congrats on Landon Chaney. Hadn't seen you in a while, buddy. Good to see you. But let me tell you something. I was telling, I'm going to go ahead and make this public, but I was talking to Couch Coach before the show. We were kind of thinking we're going to try to do some awards for Coach of the Year, and who did the best job and what team overachieved and did better than everybody thought. And we were kind of throwing back and forth between Kentucky and Florida, but I think Florida, I didn't think there was a shot in Hades that Florida had a chance to go 10 wins with the bowl victory over Michigan. I just didn't see it coming.
And finish the season ranked 6th ahead of LSU and Georgia. Sorry, Couch Coach.
Well, I mean, that's fine. It doesn't really mean anything at the end of the year, but whatever.
It means something to me, okay? After a 4-7 season, it means something to me.
Yeah, well, we'll see what old Dan Muffintop has for his encore next year.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting tired. Georgia fans have been spoiled. They got 2 great seasons, and now every recruit wants to go there. Everyone getting spoiled. You know what's a good way to unspoil yourself? A good 4-8 season. Tell them about it, Catfish. You know that's a good way to unspoil yourself.
Don't get me involved in this. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna make a prediction right now. Florida doesn't win 10 games next year. What do you think, Couch Coach?
Woo, that's a good one. I mean, 10 wins. I don't know. I mean, they open up with Miami, so we don't really know what Miami is, but they should beat Miami. I mean, they got to face Georgia again. They got to face LSU, which Dan Mullen tends to have the Ogeron puzzle figured out. FSU should be a complete non-factor to them. So I think they'll at least match it next year, maybe at 9. And I think the Florida Gators can get 10 wins next year.
I see us matching it, trading wins. We'll beat Kentucky, but I think we might lose at LSU this year, especially if it's a night game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
I just like poking at you. I don't know what Florida's going to do. We're going to start talking about next season later on in the year. We got a lot of sports between now and then, but I feel sorry for you tomorrow. You probably ought not to even watch the game tomorrow. Just go.
I'm not. I'm watching my Chiefs beat the Indianapolis Colts tomorrow. It's going to happen.
The Chiefs,
we're going to finally win a home playoff game. We're going to do it.
Not only that.
24 years in the making.
Not only that.
24 years in the making.
The Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. I promise you that. I'm on board on the Chiefs bandwagon.
No, I'm selling it. Not with Andy Reid. Not with Andy Reid. I'm sorry. I'm selling it.
Okay. No. Don't talk to me about Andy Reid. It's Alex Smith. You see what he did in Philadelphia? Okay. He's not bad in the playoffs. It's not him.
I don't know. Maybe a divisional round win, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys are getting past New England or the Chargers or some of these other teams.
Well, Ryan,
we got to come to Arrowhead, loudest stadium in the world.
Yeah, it is loud. Hey, I've driven by Arrowhead during a game, and I've heard the crowd in the truck with the windows rolled up, and I'm not kidding. You can hear it. It is freaking loud.
So it's the loudest stadium in the world.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, I really appreciate you. You need to call in more. You're fun. You could take over the spot for Delusional Paul. I think you'd be the perfect replacement for Delusional Paul. He don't call in no more, and you could be his replacement. So keep calling in, buddy.
Oh, so you're going to have to start warning Couch Coach when I'm calling?
Yeah. I see LSU's in here. Greg G's in here. I can't see everybody. So if I didn't miss you, I'm sorry. But I'm going to go to Bobby Durkins. He says he wants to talk some college football. Let me ask you something, Bobby Durkins.
Hey there, how you doing?
How thankful are you for Terry Don Phillips?
I tell you right now, I'm more thankful for him than Santa Claus and my mama. That's awfully thankful. Lord. And y'all forgive me. I got some family staying over, and all my little kids, they run around here. Heaven's Little Angels is raising some major HE double hockey sticks. If y'all hear a bunch of stuff, ignore it.
Nah, we'll ignore it.
And if
we
you're
love
in the area, if you're in the area, volunteer, come pick me up.
Yeah.
Take me somewhere. I don't care anywhere.
Bobby, I imagine you don't live too far from Greenville. I imagine there's been a lot of partying in downtown Greenville here this past week. I don't know. Haven't been there in a little bit.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't know if you know this or not. I'm not kidding either. There is a Walmart in Central South Carolina, and for those of you who don't know where Central South Carolina is, it's basically Clemson. It basically is just on the backside of Clemson. But about 5, 6, 7 years ago, give or take a year or 12, the Walmart wanted to build a Walmart in Clemson. Oh, boy, everybody kicked up. They were mad, getting all upset and everything, thinking that little old place was going to win against a multi-billion-dollar company. So they built in Central, which is basically Clemson. But anyway, it's really, 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 really close to Clemson. And the national championship trophy, I'm not kidding, heavily guarded, is there at the Walmart, and people can go have their picture taken with a trophy. They actually raised up Monday night in Central South Carolina at the Walmart. Yep. About pissed myself when I found out I missed out.
What does that say about the fan base that you got the national championship trophy at a Walmart?
It tells you that I'm a fantastic representation of the Clemson fan base. Lord, no, actually, most Clemson fans hate me, which that's kind of funny. But no, I tell you this, I was looking at those odds that you put up there, and you know, I kind of don't even want to look at those because I'm sitting here going, I still can't get over Monday night. We know what happened. It is what it is. But players were returning. I know we're losing some good players. We're losing some guys on the line. Mitch Hyatt. Everybody talks about the defensive players we're losing. But Mitch Hyatt was the biggest offensive lineman we maybe even ever signed. And he was 5-star out of high school, and he's gone. So, you know, there's going to be some spots that, you know, we're going to have to fill next year. But I think the reason that we have such a high chance of winning again next year is because of player development, because, like y'all been talking about, the coaches have been there forever. You don't see – I think they've lost 2 coaches in the past 8 years, something like that. Seriously. Everybody knows each other. It is a family atmosphere, and the machine that keeps spitting out coaches left and right, and yes, Saban's great and stuff, people want to come and stay where they can build a relationship with a person and stay there during the time they're there in college, because college is a very difficult time. I mean, I don't know anything about myself, but I mean, it is what it is. But but I will tell you why they put up there like Auburn and Miami and everything. It's just to taunt them. They know they ain't gonna do nothing. Ain't gonna do nothing but just, I don't know, embarrass themselves. But yeah, it's really good to be a Tiger right now, a Clemson Tiger, that is.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's always difficult to repeat. And, you know, I think, again, I mean, Clemson definitely has the structures there to be successful for sure. I mean, you know, you got a quarterback, you got half of it, right? So I just think that, you know, I mean, Clemson, of course, Alabama, they're going to be the 2 favorites. I mean, why wouldn't they be? They've been the last 2 national championship teams, have come through there. So everyone else, right now, kind of like the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Oklahomas, the Texas, these kind of teams, they're just kind of on the outside looking in. I mean, they can always sneak in and do something a little different there. But talking to, Catfish, I think what's going to be interesting because this year was the first year we had a 15-0 team. And I think the next thing that's going to happen is, are we going to see a college football team with 2 losses win a national title? And I think that day is coming around the corner a lot sooner than people think.
Well, the reason I would think maybe the only way that would happen, Coach, and I think you'll agree with me, the SEC 5-6 years ago was legitimately ridiculous. It was legitimately crazy good. It really was. The SEC is still the best conference in the country, but it is not near as strong and prevalent, that's a new word I learned, as it is now. It was not, right now it's not as strong as it was back then. And 5-6 years ago, when you had Bobby Petrino at Arkansas, when you had LSU, they still had the talent, this, that, and the other. You had those teams playing really, really well. Even A&M was playing solid.
Yeah.
That would be the only scenario. Yeah, unfortunately. But that would be the only scenario I would see where a 2-loss team would get in and win it, is if you got a conference that truly become strong, like legit strong. Not like, oh, we're the best and you're basing off 5 years ago. Like, legitimately, we're bad. Every dang one of us is bad. The only reason we got lost is because they're really, really good and they got us this week. I think that would happen if you had a strong conference that pops up, or if the SEC strengthens. We'll see. I don't know. I know it ain't going to be the ACC. I'll tell you that.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that you're going to see, and I think you're right. I think that 2-loss team is going to come from the SEC, and I don't see any way that college football playoff with a 2-loss SEC winner is going to say, no, we're not going to put the SEC representative in. Right or wrong? I mean, because if Auburn beat Georgia last year with 2 losses, they would have gotten into the playoff with 2 losses. So I think it's coming. And I remember 11 years ago when there was, I think it was 2007 when they had Ohio, LSU had 2 losses, Georgia had 2 losses, USC had 2 losses. We had all these teams with 2 losses. And it's going to be interesting to see if a multitude of these kind of conferences, like the Big 12, the Big 10, have kind of the same deal where we have a year where there's only maybe one team with 1 loss, and then you got a bunch of teams with 2 losses.
Now, are you saying that in our current 14 playoff, or are you talking about if they expand it to 8 in the current 14?
I think the current 4 team, if you're looking at, say if Clemson has 1 loss next year and they are 13-1 and they're the number 1 team, and then you got a 2-loss SEC team and a 2-loss, Big 12 team, and I think you're going to see that day, that 1 year where you're going to see a 2-loss team get into the playoff. Yeah,
it's possible. It's definitely possible. And Catfish, y'all gonna be 15-0.
You dang right. I was just fixing to say that, and I see LSU fans in here. I've got Mr. Duga. It's spelled Dugas, but he's got a Cajun accent. He's been a guest host on this show. He's gonna make me a video tomorrow, and I'm gonna be uploading it on the LSU recap of his season. And looking forward, y'all look forward to that. You said you were looking, Bobby, on the odds. Were you as shocked as I was not to see Tennessee up there in the odds?
I'm going to tell you right now, I was about as shocked as when I found out that Santa wasn't, well, I don't know who's watching, but I was about that shocked. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, that's I mean, I will tell you this, the hiring of Chaney, I don't think that's a bad move. I think it's a good move. I will go back. I've been listening to most of the show. Couch Coach said this, it was one of you that said, I'm pretty sure it's Couch Coach, who said, if a guy's going to move on, he's going to make more money. Lord bless him. I help him pack, But I do believe that you get to a place where you say, if this guy, it's like we did with Venables. Venables makes over $2 million a year. Why does he want to go anywhere else when all they have to say is, well, toss another $500,000 at you? Okay, I'm staying. You know what I'm saying? You're making ungodly money, and you're revered, I would say that if they felt good about Chaney, they should have thrown more money at him. They should, hey, stay. Don't do anything, stay. But, obviously it seems like they didn't want him to stay. Although I don't think Georgia's results is really a reflection. I could be wrong. It's from a Tigers point of view, but I don't think it's a reflection of his poor coaching. I don't think that. You can question somebody all day long. Georgia has been doing quite well over the past 2 years. You can't take that away. Just because you didn't get in the playoffs this year, you can't take that away. If you start to play those games, unless you hire somebody who is a genius, you're just going to start recycling coaches, and then you'll get a reputation. And that happens. But that's my thought. That's my thought.
Yeah, definitely possible.
Yeah.
Bobby,
Listen,
before you go, do you think Trevor Lawrence has got to be the favorite to win the Heisman next year?
I tell you this, logic says yes, but it's kind of like Dabo Swinney when he was talking about Christian Wilkins, and somebody said, "You believe Christian Wilkins be the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy this year because Wilkins did that Heisman pose in the back."
Yeah.
And he said, "Let me tell you this: Deshaun Watson should have won it 2 years in a row, and he didn't win one." He said, "If Deshaun didn't win it, Christian Wilkins definitely ain't." I think Trevor Lawrence stands a good chance of it. But what really is the Heisman Trophy? Let's just ask ourselves that. What really is it? It gives us the feel good, like, oh, let's sit down and watch the Heisman Trophy, and then they give it out every year, and it's just like every time my grandma bakes that same fruit cake, it might smell good, but in the end, it sucks. And that's what I think's going. That's my feeling on the Heisman Trophy. I don't know.
The Heisman Trophy has been a joke since the Heisman heist of the century in 1997 with Peyton Manning. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that should say a lot. That should say a lot to you right there. When Peyton Manning can't win it, I think you need to shut the darn thing down, or just start handing it out on the street. We don't even do a ceremony anymore. When they'd at a truck stop or something, Mayday, get over here. You look athletic. Here's the Heisman Trophy. That's what we should do because seriously, Deshaun Watson should have won the darn thing his second year or his first year that he was in the major spotlight. He should have won it, but they gave it to Derrick Henry.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Well, I've got 4 years. I've got 4 years of eligibility left. Maybe I could win it.
Hey, why don't you and I enroll together? We'll let the couch coach. He'll come babysit us, make sure we ain't beer drinking and such, and rambling and going. Maybe we can do it.
All right, Bobby.
You put the wrong.
Yeah. Y'all be good. Y'all take care.
Right. We're going to go to MCD Sports and see what he's got. He's calling from Maryland. How you doing? What you got for Catfish and Couch Coach? Glad you called.
Hey, Catfish. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Okay. How you doing, Couch Coach?
I'm doing excellent, sir.
Okay. I'm calling in about the championship odds. I can't believe Miami's a 25-1. Just looking at I'm a Terps fan, by the way, but if the Terps get Jalen Hurts, they're better than Miami in my opinion. I can name a number of teams that are better than Miami. I'm not going to go through the list because I'm not going to waste my time on it, mine and yours times on it. But I can't believe some of these championship odds. I just couldn't believe it. You can probably make an argument that Tennessee's better than Miami if you want to be honest about it. Miami's just bad.
Well, the thing about Miami, and you got to look at it from the perspective of what did people think Miami was going to do at the beginning of this year, right? And that was they're probably going to be the favorite to win the Coastal. They're probably going to win about 10 games, and they're going to probably lose to Clemson in that ACC title game, finish about 10-3, something like that. So. At the same time, I get what you're saying that they're probably overhyped for that 25-1. I think you could also say that 7-6, record that they had this year with those losses that they had to Boston College and Georgia Tech, that's not representative of the talent that they have down there either. That's kind of an administrative problem down there with Mark Richt towards the end. So while I don't think obviously they're going to win a national title or overtake Clemson or anything like that, I wouldn't sleep on Miami, winning, getting back in that 10-win column next year with, Diaz and maybe the right kind of coordinator there.
Yeah, I see here on the list, Auburn, Miami, Texas, and Wisconsin all have the same odds, 25-1. I just can't believe they have all four of those teams at the same level. I think Texas is probably the better of those four teams, and I can't believe Auburn's at the same with Miami. That's just, I don't know, unless they know something we don't. Who is Auburn's quarterback? I mean, we don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. I mean, maybe Jalen Hurts will go to Auburn. I don't know. I doubt it, but oh man, yeah. I can't believe that. Well, what is your Maryland Terps going to do next year?
Well, we have Jalen Hurts coming in for a visit next week. Hopefully, we'll get him. And I think if we get him, I think we can go 8-4. I really believe that. Because we're not being Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, but we could beat Michigan State and the rest of those teams on our schedule, in my opinion. Toughest out conference game.
You beat Texas.
Yeah, I mean, Maryland's capable of winning a lot of these games on their schedule. Like we get like Syracuse out of conference at home. We could easily, I think, beat Syracuse if we get Jalen Hurts. But I think the key is get Jalen Hurts, because if we don't get Jalen Hurts, 6-6 probably.
Yeah.
I just want to make a bowl game more.
Do the Terp fans think they have a really legitimate shot of getting him? I know their new coach was at Miami, wasn't he? Not Miami, but Alabama.
Oh yeah. Terp fans really think we could get him. We're like number 3 for odds of getting him. I think we're like plus 300 or something like that, behind Houston and Arizona.
Where do you think he's going, Couch Coach?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and there's other people who brought up Chip Kelly at UCLA, kind of in that style of offense. I kind of lean towards Maryland too. I think because Loxley's going to Maryland, right?
Yeah.
So I think that to me makes sense if you're just going to go for like 1 year and play or whatever, try to get to the league. At least try to go to a place that runs the same system. You're in a little bit more of an offensive kind of league. They don't play as rough defense in that league as they will, like, say, in an SEC or something like that. So Maryland makes sense to me. Everything else just kind of at this point, but we'll see where he lands.
Yeah, I really hope he goes to Maryland. He's visiting Maryland. I think I saw he was visiting Miami, but I know he's visiting Maryland, so I just hope it works out. And we're also bringing some of Alabama. I think Loxley, he's bringing some of Alabama's coaches along with him as well, I believe. I think he's bringing Butch Jones with him, even though. Yeah. I can't believe I saw reports that Butch Jones was the #1 candidate for the West Virginia job, and I just couldn't stop laughing at it.
If Maryland fans were smart, they would start rioting now to get rid of Butch Jones. Don't let him step foot on campus.
Yeah, when I saw he was coming to Maryland, I just put my hand in my face and just shook my head.
Yeah.
But hopefully he just stays quiet. But I was just talking about the championship odds. Like, to me, Auburn could be good if they get a quarterback. Texas isn't back yet. I don't want to hear that. Wisconsin lost to BYU last year. So, and I usually name a number of teams better than Miami and Wisconsin, but I'm not going to waste my time doing that.
Yeah, Texas needs to shut up. I saw their coach, not their coach, but their quarterback after the game say, "We're back." You're not back yet. You're not back. You're not going to knock Tennessee off as off-season national champs. But anyway, what else you got, buddy? We're going to start wrapping it up. Do you have a bite me for any of your sports problems? Anything that just bugs you in sports?
I'm a Titans fan, and the last thing that bugged me was basically the Titans choking away Sunday Night Football. But It's what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you all go.
All right, appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks for taking my call.
All right, buddy.
And see you guys.
All right, Couch Coach, I'm gonna end this thing. Man, we had some fantastic callers tonight, didn't we?
Yes, sir. Good show.
Yeah, great show. Well, we're gonna keep this going. I might do one over the weekend, not sure, but anyway, those of y'all that have been watching me, y'all know what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. The Tennessee men's basketball team is going to curb stomp Florida tomorrow at 6 p.m. down in Gainesville. I promise you that.